Okay, so there's Rocky, and he's kind of a hero in the story I'm about to tell. And I know some people will think that I'm mentally ill, or that I'm maybe a drug user, or that I use a drink excessively, or whatever, or that I'm just lying. None of that is true, other than the mental illness thing. I might be mentally ill. Not too sure on that one. I think we all are to a degree. So maybe there's something in that. But I do have other people I know that have had similar experiences to what I'm about to describe in the building that I'm about to describe them happening in. Actually, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to tell a specific story. And it concerns Rocky because he was kind of a hero in this story. But from 1988, when I was 20 years old, until 2016, when I was 48 years old, I lived in an apartment above the Royal Bank in Perth, Ontario, Canada. I lived at 46 Gore Street East, Perth, Ontario, Canada. Gore was the name. It was named after an old Scottish military guy. The whole town started out as a Scottish military settlement for United Empire Loyalists in 1816. That was the founding of the town of Perth. It was named after Perth, Scotland. In fact, there's a river that runs through Perth, Ontario called the Tay River, Tay, and that was named after the River Tay in Perth, Scotland, because most of the original settlers, these army people, had come from Perth, Scotland in that area. In fact, the Royal Bank building where I lived was a beautiful old stone building that was built in 1911. There were a lot of stonemasons in the Perth area because a lot of Scottish people, it turns out, were stonemasons. And so there's a lot of beautiful architecture in Perth. Beautiful old architecture because of the early settlers being stonemasons, basically. A lot of old stone buildings. Anyway, this particular building was contaminated with what could only be described as negative energy, I guess. I call it demonic energy because I come from a Christian tradition. I know not everybody refers to it as demonic. There's different ways of saying it. But basically, negative spiritual energy, what I call demonic energy. And again, I know this sounds crazy to people who don't believe in this stuff, but if you've ever experienced it, the people who have experienced it will have no problem believing me. The ones who haven't experienced it just won't believe it. And I know that. There's going to be people in the comments probably who say that I'm a liar, or ask me what I was smoking when this happened, or whatever. I know that. But all I can tell you is I don't use any mind-altering substances. As far as I know, I'm not mentally ill, at least not to the point where I'm hearing voices or seeing things. And I don't even use alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. And I also have it from other people who lived in the same building and had similar experiences. I'm not the only one who had things happen to them there. I was even physically attacked a couple of times by an unseen thing. I don't know what it was. And yeah, it was pretty freaky sometimes. It was actually downright scary sometimes. I had a couple of experiences that were really terrifying when I was there, and I'm going to talk about one of them tonight. And this experience, actually, this story has Rocky in it. And Rocky was quite a hero that night anyway. And this is what happened. In this apartment, it was a huge 2-bedroom apartment. There are people who have houses and don't have as much room in their house as I had in this apartment. It was really big. It took up nearly half of the top floor of this beautiful old stone building. Anyway, My bed was just a couple of feet away from a hot water radiator. You probably seen the old buildings with the cast iron radiators. You know, the things that stand about 4 feet tall, and the water circulates through them to heat the building. Well, my bed was about 2 feet away from one of those. And so when I was laying in my bed, if I was laying on my back, the radiator would be to my right. Anyway, one night I went to bed and fell asleep. Of course, Rocky and Muella, my girl cat, who was passed away, got killed by a fisher in the woods behind this camper right after we got here. She was there too. They used to come and sleep in the bed with me. Anyway, Rocky and Moo were in the bed with me. I fell asleep. This one night I fell asleep in the bed, and I had this dream. And in the dream, I was getting the crap beat out of me. I was in the worst fight I'd ever been in my life. And I was getting massacred. And whatever it was that was beating me up, I couldn't see. It was completely dark, and I was being attacked by something in the dark, and I couldn't see it. I really couldn't fight back because I couldn't even see what was attacking me. Anyway, I was really taking a kicking in this fight, and I was having in this dream. Well, I don't know how long that went on, but I woke up. Look at Rocky, he's reliving it, I think. I woke up, and what happens? But the reason I woke up was Rocky was growling. He was really growling, and it was actually his growling that woke me up. And when I woke up, I was laying on my right side, so I was facing the radiator. Basically, it was about as far away from me as Rocky is from me now. And Rocky had put himself right about where he is now, right between me and the radiator. And he was facing the radiator, and he was growling. I'll turn off the light so I'm not blinding my friend here. He was facing the radiator. It's not as interesting for you guys, I know, to look at because the light being off, but it's just I don't want to shine it in his eyes, the poor little guy. But this is the thing anyway. He was facing the radiator, and he had his lips curled back so all his teeth were exposed, his fangs, and he was growling. And like I say, it was the sound of his growling that woke me up. And on the radiator, there was a big red circle. I'd say it was about 1.5 feet in diameter. This red circle. And when I woke up, this is what I'm seeing on the radiator. And I'd say probably a few seconds. This isn't very interesting to look at, I know, but here, I'll turn the camera around, and you know what I'll do? Because this is not going to be interesting. Oh, there we go. Shine it in my own eyes here. What happened was, that is bright. I can see why it's hard for him to look at. Anyway, what happened was, when I woke up, there's this light. Not light, there's this red circle. I got the light on the camera on my mind now. There was this red circle on the radiator. Basically, it looked like it was on the radiator. It might have been floating in front of it, I don't know. But it was about 1.5 feet wide in circumference or whatever, this circle. And Rocky was standing there with all his fur. You know how cats get where all the fur stands up? And his tail was all poofed out, and he's curling his lips right back there to show his teeth. And he is growling ferociously at this thing. And when I woke up and saw that, it only lasted maybe 15 to 20 seconds after I woke up, and then it faded away. It just disappeared slowly. And I swear that night, Rocky defended me from a demon. And I know that sounds completely insane. I'm aware of that. I know how crazy I sound right now. So I people want to tell me I'm crazy. They'll tell me I'm crazy. But I did experience it. And there were a lot of people in that building that had had similar experiences over the years. And I talked to many of them. and we used to compare notes about the strange things that went on there. There was one elderly woman who lived in the building, and I kind of looked out for her because she didn't have very many people, and our landlord picked on her. He was a vile person, our landlord was, and he really picked on her. And I used to kind of look out for her anyway. And I had a conversation with her one time, and she was I don't think it was Russian Orthodox, although it might have been. She was some sort of an Orthodox Catholic anyway, and she was a mystic. Her name was Tula, and her last name was a big long Greek name that I can't pronounce, but her first name was Tula. Lovely person anyway. And Tula told me one time that the building was infested. That's the way she put it. She said it was infested with negative energy because of all the bad things that had happened there. And so anyway, that's the story there of how Rocky saved me from a demon or from negative energy or whatever you want to call it. Something bad anyway, where I was being attacked and Rocky saved me. Alrighty, so that's the story. What can I tell you? It happened. I expect that there'll be people who won't believe me, but I'm used to that. It's alright if you don't. You can't force the people to believe these things, especially those who have never experienced any such thing. Anyway, that's the story. We'll talk to you later. Hope you're all having a good night. Bye for now.